tens of thousands of people took to the streets of Dublin this weekend, outraged at the atrocities that Israel is inflicting on the people of Gaza. Thousands more will be outside the door tomorrow evening, calling on you to support People Before Profits' motion calling for sanctions on Israel for the crimes that it is committing, the massacre it is committing in Gaza, calling for sanctions against Israeli government representatives, officials and ambassadors who are involved in supporting or justifying Israel's massacre in Gaza. And one of the words that is on the lips and will be on the lips of protesters tomorrow, was at the weekend and are on the lips of millions across the world who are taking to the streets and protesting about the horror that Israel is inflicting on the people of Gaza, is the word genocide. And I want to remind you, because this hasn't come up in the discussion, that the Irish government has obligations under the Genocide Convention, along with 140 countries. It's in Irish law from 1973, and that convention requires states to do absolutely everything within their power to prevent a genocide taking place. And the definition of genocide is for any of the following acts to be committed with the intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial or religious group, such as killing members of the group, causing serious bodily harm or mental harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, forcibly transferring the children of the group to another group, and so on. Now, Craig Mockaber, who is the UN High Commissioner of Human Rights, resigned on the 28th of October, stating that what Israel was doing in Gaza and to the Palestinians was a textbook example of genocide. William Shabs, who's the Emeritus Professor in UCG, who's a specialist, world-renowned specialist in genocide, says that Israel is acting with genocidal intent. And when you look at what's happening, 13,000 dead, 33,000 injured, 275,000 homes destroyed, 1.7 million displaced, and a government who, for example, the Deputy Speaker of the Israeli Parliament last week said about Israel's actions, "We are being too humane, we must burn Gaza." We have all the evidence we need that a genocide is being committed, and yet your government has done nothing, and it is not discharging its responsibilities under the Genocide Convention, which you are required to do under law. And you are facilitating the US military at Shannon Airport, who have very publicly stated that they are supporting militarily and financially all of Israel's actions in Gaza. So I ask you, when are you going to act, which you were required to do under the Genocide Convention, everything in your power to stop the genocide that has been committed and to stop facilitating US troops at Shannon who are militarily, financially and politically supporting the Israeli genocidal actions in Gaza?
Thanks very much, Deputy. We'll be proposing a counter-motion or an amendment to your motion tonight, in that we will deeply deplore the catastrophic humanitarian situation in Gaza, including the death of over 11,000 people, almost half of them children, as a consequence of Israel's military actions in Gaza. We will condemn the barbaric acts by Hamas on the 7th of October in Israel. We will also specifically condemn the killing of children and civilians. We will raise our very deep concerns about violence in the West Bank, particular settler violence against Palestinians. We will note that an investigation is being carried out by the prosecutor of the ICC and the additional funding that we provided for the ICC, and add to our call for all hostages to be released. Your own motion, Deputy, while you're very welcome, of course, to put it down, doesn't mention at all Hamas or the human rights abuses committed against Israeli citizens, and we think that's an omission, and that's why we can't support your motion and why we've put down our own one. We don't believe that what happened in Israel, the killing of 1,200 people, the killing of children, taking of hostages, is so insignificant that it didn't merit even a line in your motion, and that's why, Deputy, we're not going to support it, and why we've put down a counter motion which we think is more balanced. And I hope, even if you can't vote for it on the first vote, you will at least vote for it on the second vote. In relation to Shannon Airport, under the terms of the Air Navigation Foreign Military Aircraft Order 1952, all foreign military aircraft wishing to overfly and land in the state require diplomatic clearance from the Minister of Foreign Affairs. This is subject to strict conditions, with full respect to Ireland's policy of military neutrality, including that the aircraft is unarmed, that it carries no arms, ammunition or explosives, that it does not engage in intelligence gathering, and that the flight in question does not form part of a military exercise or operation. The policy is well known and fully understood by the United States and other international partners, and is done in compliance with Ireland's traditional policy of military neutrality.
First of all, on Shannon, you trust the United States to tell the truth about what's on those planes. This is the same United States who told us there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and then continued to kill 1 million people in Iraq based on a pack of lies about weapons of mass destruction, and you won't even search the planes when they are backing up the slaughter that Israel is conducting. And you didn't answer the question about genocide. Now, when are we going to start to discuss it? Because that is all of the evidence fits the descriptions of genocide. Craig Mockaber said, quote, "This is a textbook case of genocide." Now, genocide is the most serious crime that can be committed. It is the most horrendous and obscene crime. And that is what I am asking you to respond to, and this has not been brought up to date. They're not even covered by the ICC. I'm asking you about the Genocide Convention and the obligation on a state to do absolutely everything required to prevent a genocide taking place when there is evidence that that is what is happening. And I don't know why you're laughing about the use of the term genocide.
Thank you. We're way over time.
Deputy, I'm not. And I appreciate why you have to say things like that, but I can absolutely guarantee I'm not. And I'm sorry you had to make that up, quite frankly. Minister McCartney was telling me about something else. Just in relation to Shannon, Deputy, the US doesn't fly planes through Shannon to Israel. It does bring some of its troops to service people through to bases in Europe and other parts of the world, and has done that for a very long time. And I've set out the rules in relation to the use of Shannon Airport for transit. Deputy, I think what's happened to the Palestinian people for the past 75 years is shameful. It is appalling. I think the international community as part of that, the West and the Arab world have let them down extremely badly, and that's putting it way too mildly. It's been a story of dispossession, it's been a story of occupation, it's been a story of significant loss and killings, and that has to change. And I hope that one of the things that can come out of this, if anything can come out of this, is a renewed effort from all sides, from the West, from the Arab world, from the Islamic world, to demand a two-state solution and to give the Palestinians the homeland that they need. Deputy, I'm not an expert on terms like genocide, but certainly, to me, my understanding of genocide is that it's an attempt to obliterate an entire nation or an entire people. So, for example, the Holocaust to Shoah, the killing of 6 million Jews, half their population, that was certainly a genocide, or attempted one.
No, thank you. We're going to move on. Peter, just the clock.